Hey y'all, welcome to our podcast, Love Speaks Volumes,
where we seek to bridge the communication gaps in our relationships.
We are your hosts. I'm Louise, a certified marriage counselor and certified sex therapist.
And I'm Meeka, a defense lawyer with over 20 years experience.
We are mothers,
wives,
sisters,
and friends.
And together, we are Black Diamonds 2.0 Entertainment. We are strong,
resilient,
powerful,
beautiful,
but never flashy,
pressured, but unbreakable.
Are you a Black Diamond?
If so, wear your title boldly and proudly because you deserve it, my kings and queens.
How are all our Black Diamonds doing today? What's going on in our relationships? Let's talk about it. Hey y'all, we back again.
Hey.
Another episode of Love Speaks Volumes.
Yes, thank you for joining us.
Yes, we so appreciate our listening audience out there. We're getting close to 900 downloads, y'all.
Pushing for that 1,000 mark. Y'all,
Please,
come on.
Y'all, come on. Just go ahead and share it, like it.
Send it to your friends, your grandma.
Please, your grandma. Yeah.
Your aunties, your dad.
Let's talk about that 73-year-old woman who wants us to burn copies an episode on a CD, y'all. Mm-hmm. Y'all, we are really...
And we're going to do it for her. We're going to do it.
We really are. Now, I'm not getting ready to say we're getting ready to start selling CDs out the trunk of the car now.
No, we're not.
But we go... we gonna try to get that woman her CDs,
absolutely,
y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, representing the North Kakalaki. Yes. Well, we have a guest with us today, Miss Qiana. Qiana, you want to say hello to the people?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, yes. Awesome.
Another exciting episode for you all.
Yes. And we're happy to have Qiana with us. And today we're going to talk about communication and dating relationships as a single mom. Mm-hmm. So, Qiana, how's it been? Qiana's a single mom. You want to kind of tell us about your family dynamic?
Sure. So I am at the ripe age of now 44.
Okay.
My daughter is 14. She'll be 15 in a couple of months. And I have been single since 2018.
Okay.
So it has been a while, but I found myself ready to mingle.
Okay.
And
Stella gonna get hugged really bad. Stella gonna get hugged really bad.
Yeah. So, but it's not something that I look forward to. I'll say that because I've always been in long-term relationships. Mm-hmm. And so this is something very new for me. Mm-hmm. But in order to get where you want to go, you gotta put yourself out there. So that's what I started doing.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about that. Put yourself out there, because Meeka and I have not been in that game for a long time, and it's really interesting to hear a different perspective. Maybe there's somebody out there that's about to get divorced. Maybe you're married, you're about to get divorced, and you're thinking about putting yourself out there. How is that now? Because years ago, you kind of got introduced by a friend or whatever, but now you got Plenty of Fish. You got Match.com, mm-hmm. Christian Mingle. There's, you take out a little personality test and figure it all out.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, when I was single before in my earlier 20s, I did the whole online dating. This is when it was very taboo, when everybody thought, you're crazy. Why would you do that? It's crazy people out there. I'm like, well, they're the same crazy people that stop you and ask you for your number.
Exactly. I said, in the grocery store, at church sometimes.
Right.
Yes.
And so,
absolutely.
I used to tell them, you just follow the same protocol. If you meet them, you go out and you are in a public area, you're not going to their house, and they're not coming to your house and things of that nature. So you follow the same thing. But again, this was when it was just a boom. It was like, I don't know, 2000 and I guess I'm going to say maybe 3 or 4 or something like that. But I would say now it's still the same. Nothing has changed. It was, a lot of women say it's bad out there. You don't want to come out here. And I'm like, well, I'm not staying with my daughter's father, so I don't have a choice.
Right.
You know,
and I'm too young to just be left alone all my life, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, so you have to pick your struggle,
Absolutely.
right? And it also depends on, you know, how you look at things, how you view things, and where you are mentally. And so now, in 2018, when I found myself wanting something different, I said, you know, because I've had relationships that were very toxic, and it got to a point where I had to step back and observe myself, not the men that I was dating, but why am I choosing them?
Why you attracting those type of?
That's
an
good,
episode
right?
in and of itself.
In and of itself,
absolutely.
Because didn't we just watch a little thing where it was some maybe TikTok or something where it said you date your trauma,
right? You attract, you
like
you date your trauma,
you tend to just pull that in because you get comfortable in that same chaos. How do you feel like you broke that to at least step out and say, hey, you know, I know what I typically have dated in the past, and now, okay, let me choose something different. I know you said you observed yourself. What did you learn in that?
Yeah, so I was at my breaking point. I was tired. You have to get tired with a lot of things that you need to change in your life. So I got to that point, and I developed a relationship with God, a closer relationship where I was like, okay, no, this is the direction that I need to take. And it just so happened that when I made that decision, when you want something, the universe serves it, right? So things just started falling into my lap, whereas I ended up finding out about this singles university by Jamal and Natasha Miller. They were pastors, they are pastors in the Chicagoland area. And I'm like, I'm not getting ready to pay for nothing like this. Like, all I gotta do
like, this is intriguing.
Like,
what do you learn?
Let me just YouTube some stuff. But when you're just ready for something, you don't even question it. It was just kind of like it, you know, it came to me, and I was just like, just do it.
Right.
And so I joined. It wasn't even that much, and plus I caught it on a discount. Doesn't matter. Either way, I joined. I jumped over the bridge and to say, you know, let me do this. So and it was one of the best decisions I ever made.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah. They had it was just like a several days worth of different pastors coming on, and each pastor, whether they had been single or married, they preached about a different category. You know, they preached about mom and dad trauma, you know, just your past, and just so many different categories that all adds up to who you are at that moment. And so it was breaking away and stripping away a lot of, you know, things that you just weren't aware of. And so it gave me a lot of insight. And then I stumbled upon a pastor named R.C. Blakes. And I can say this, he put the cherry on top for me. His mission is to really educate women on dating and the proper way to love yourself before you start dating.
Wow.
And because I had a child at this time, and this is something that was new for me because I was always with her dad, I'm like, I can't just think about me anymore. I have to think about her first. And that's what the cherry on top was for me. That's when I said, no, I have to change the direction of where I'm going with this.
It sounds like one of the key things is being self-aware enough to know, hey, we talk about self-awareness quite a bit, like being self-aware enough to know that, hey, I need to grow in some spaces before I go putting myself out there, you know, on broken pieces that haven't really been mended together. And it sounds like you did your own work first before putting yourself out there. Well, it sounds like you got some good ratings for these three pastors, these programs. Single University. I hear y'all. Okay.
Well, two things I got from actually listening to you and your journey. I would call it that, your journey. One thing I got was that you were willing to be open and you were willing to be open-minded. So in the beginning, you were like, hey, I'm not doing that. I'm not. But then you were like, hey, you know, I want to change from where I was to get to some other place that I haven't been. So you have to do something different. And so you were open and willing to do that. But the second thing that I actually got from you was that you were willing to not only just be self-accountable, but you were also willing to you were willing to step away from yourself and let God lead you, as opposed to you leading you. So if you had left it up to Qiana and how Qiana wanted to do things, Qiana would have probably been 10 steps further back or in the same place that you were in the beginning, as opposed to when you let God lead you, he invited. And I don't prescribe to the things just fell in your lap. I don't think things just happen. God allows things to happen when you are willing to be open and you're willing to allow him to lead.
Yes.
So I think he directed that path and you were willing to follow.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I and everybody may not be in the on the God journey in the but that's fine. I feel as a human being, you have to have something bigger than yourself that is going to lead you in a better direction.
Amen.
Whatever that thing is, whatever who that person is, follow it.
Right.
Because again, like you just said, you cannot do it all by yourself, because if that's the case, we'd all be where we want to be and perfect.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, I just love the fact that you even said like you can't do it by yourself, because if there are single moms that are out there listening to this, I would want them to understand that you're not alone in this journey. And definitely appreciate you coming on to kind of tell your story about dating and kind of how you have navigated those waters, but just letting all the single moms know, hey, guess what? There's married moms out here that are here to love on you. You're not by yourself.
Right.
Boaz, all my Christian listeners will know, he'll come at his time. We don't have to be out there trying to give our number to, kissing all them toes,
right?
Trying to make a prince, right? But just, taking that accountability and being open. And I think open, from a Christian standpoint, a lot of times we look at that openness and that surrender to the will of God. And it sounds like that's exactly what you walked into. And that's just amazing. It's not as easy as it sounds.
Oh, I'm sure not.
Right.
I'm sure not. I totally got when you said, hey, I'm afraid to get out here. I want to put about putting yourself out here. I can't imagine at this age and like have been in long-term relationships to now have to go back on the dating scene. So I don't even know how I would approach that. I know we've talked about the dating apps and all of that. I don't even know if I would. I don't know. So I commend you that's just being willing to be open.
Oh,
so
I'm laughing at Meeka right now because I'm sitting in front of two very beautiful women who probably don't even need a dating app. They can just be walking on the street. They can pull them, y'all. They can pull them. But Meeka's taken. She got a husband. But Qiana out here, she got it going on. Y'all watch out. Watch out.
Oh my gosh. Well, so funny. So I'm just going to backtrack a little bit about what Meeka just said, and what both of you just said as far as being open. One thing you have to do first is just be faithful to what you want and not waver from that. And when you do that,
that is a whole word. Did y'all hear that? Come on, rewind and say that one more time for the people in the back.
You have to be faithful to what you want.
Absolutely.
Be clear.
Stick to it.
Yeah. Stop compromising.
That's it. That's it. And it starts with self-love, honestly, because when you don't have that's just like the easiest sentence to throw around, right. Oh, I love myself. Well, do you really?
Right. You gotta know yourself to love yourself, though. So I think it goes back to what you were saying initially about just taking a self-awareness and self-accountability. You gotta really end up figuring out who you are before you can love who you are. And if you don't like who you are, then you got to do the work to change who you are so that you can love who you are, so that you can have something to offer whoever it is that you're looking to be loved by.
That's it.
I think it's really, in any relationship, I think it's very difficult to have a one-sided relationship when you go in a relationship feeling like, I know some, and I'm not going to name names, but I know some females who are not happy until they are in a relationship. they're not happy in and of themselves, so that when they get in a relationship, you sap that person of all their energy because they have to bring everything to the table. They have to bring the love. They have to bring the compliments. They have to bring everything to fill you up. But if you come in already feeling you already love yourself, as you said, then you both have something to offer that relationship. And that person doesn't have to feel like they're completely drained in this relationship because they have to love for the both of you.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you hit it right on the nail. So, and that's what my mindset was. My mindset was going backward to go forward. I had to figure me out. And I went so far back till as far as I could remember. If your memory started at 3, then it started there. If your memory started at 7, then it starts there, because something molded you into who you are today.
Right.
And so I was going back to say, okay, how did I get here? Looking over my experiences and my relationships and the type of, people that I was willing to do this with, why did I choose them? And again, like you said, sometimes it's a reflection of yourself. And when trauma meets trauma, it's a recipe.
Yes, it is. It's like metal and magnet. Sure is.
It's a definite recipe. But now I'm like, no, I'm going healthy or I'm not going. And so once I developed healthiness, healthy mindset in myself, and I don't want to have someone that I'm dating not be in the same mindset. So that means I had to learn how to discern. I had to
recognize it, how to recognize it. That's what came to me, how to recognize it from the jump.
That's
right.
Not to fall back in it.
So important because, of course, we know the temptation is out there. Come on. I don't care how much growth you've had.
Right.
That temptation's going to come. That familiar spirit's going to show up. And, and you may just find yourself like, what am I doing? But if you have conviction and if that rises, that means you're still somewhat on the right track, because you can find yourself in situations and you're just going with the flow. No, if you're feeling something in the back of your mind, like, that means something you did have the growth. The growth is there, and you don't take that for granted. So that's what I started doing, and it's been working thus far. I'm definitely not going to say it's easy. I can vouch for that.
Sure it's not. I'm sure
but
it's
when
not.
you think of the bigger picture of what you really want, again, in your relationship, your faith in God, and saying, this is what I want. This is what I'm trusting you for. Because I don't want you to choose my mate. I mean, I don't want myself to choose my mate. I want him to choose my mate. And because when I make my choices, well, we've already been there and seen how those
exactly how that worked out.
Right. And then also, sometimes you may be making a choice off of one thing, and he's like, no, I'm gonna give you what you need, not what you want.
Right.
And so that's what I was willing to wait for.
So how do you end up discerning from the beginning? Like, when you see the red flags, how do you back off? How do you say, hey, I noticed it. I saw it. I saw repeated behavior from the past. How do you talk to our listeners about how you nip that? Because some people aren't as strong as you, and some they see it, but they don't know how to respond to it,
Yeah.
And so what advice would you give single moms out here? And we're going to talk about the mom part, but we're talking about the single part right now.
Right.
That's out here just want to start dating after years of, maybe haven't been dating. How do you notice and how do you discern, hey, I see this same pattern happening, and how do I pump the brakes on that?
Yes. So I used to have a saying that I'm not waiting for the red flags. As soon as that flag start turning a hue of cream, going into orange, I'm stepping back.
I know that, right?
Again, it's not as easier said than done.
Right.
And I'll give you an example. There was a guy I was talking to, and I mean, we just hit it off from the beginning. Lasted every bit of a month and a half. Probably not even that long. My daughter was seeing me just smiling all the time. Oh, who got you laughing like that? And I'll go back to how open I am with her as well. But I just seen some things about him that I'm like, I won't be able to do this, And again, that's having faith that who is for you will come. That's having faith in not letting loneliness seep in and saying, okay, I'm going to settle again when you already see that this may not be something you can deal with. It's about being true to yourself. And once you keep that in the forefront, then it becomes easier to navigate the moving away process, because now you're realizing, here I am wasting time again, and time you won't get back. Time that you could be on the phone with someone else and seeing where it goes. It's not fun. No one wants to feel, no one wants to keep going over your favorite color and your favorite meal in restaurants. Who wants to keep doing that? No one. But that's the process. That's what you have to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things I talk to my clients a lot about is, would you put money in an investment that is not going to give you a return? So in other words, if I get my paycheck and I go to the bank and I deposit it in there, and as soon as I put it in there, it's all gone. Like, would I keep going to that bank?
Right.
I wouldn't, and you wouldn't keep just giving that money and putting it in there if it's not giving you any return. It's just continuing to drain you. And I think a lot of times we don't realize that, especially as women. And I know this happens to men too, but especially as women, sometimes we are looking for that secure relationship so much that we just accept whatever comes our way, and we're just throwing money away. We wouldn't throw our money away, but we throw our emotional money away. We throw our bodies away. We give these things to people that don't deserve it, would never appreciate us at the end of the day anyway. They're just there to take advantage of that. Yeah. So I just, y'all invest in a place where there's going to be a return. Check the ROI. Please. Absolutely. Check the ROI. I know you work in, credit repair and all that kind of stuff, and investing and helping people get their finances together. What do you think about that analogy?
So that is definitely, you're right on point with that. I had a friend, and just to talk about what Meeka was saying earlier, she used to tell me, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you could be by yourself. And I said, well, I don't know how you cannot, because at the relationship that you're in, it was troubling her. It was troubling the children, and that's when it gets to be a little bit too much, And so again, when you talk about the ROI, it's like, what are you really losing for the sake of having a man there? What are you losing with yourself? Your children are watching you, and this is when it becomes just a little bit too far gone. So that is why, and again, just like credit and business and everything, you have to make a plan, and you have to stick to that plan to get to the goal. Right. And it's the same thing in all areas of your life.
Or you're going to always be in debt.
Right. Exactly.
You'll never dig yourself out if you keep pouring into this bottomless pit, burn your own money up, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
I don't let a lot of people borrow money from me. You know why? Because when I let you have it, I'm just going to let you have it. Because if I let you borrow it, I might not ever see it again. But if I never see it again, don't come back again asking me to borrow some money.
That part.
Now, that's the way I treat my money.
What she said. What she said.
Put this camera
Girl, But just for our listeners, when we say ROI, we're talking about, for those that don't know, return on investment. So, but I also wanted to comment on what you said when you said, hey, he will find you. He will find you. You don't have to keep... I go back to what it was saying in the word when it said, he who finds a good wife finds a good thing.
Yes.
Right?
Preach.
He who finds a good wife, not she who finds a good husband. That ain't what the word said.
Yeah.
So, and I will tell you how I end up, I wouldn't say finding my husband because I didn't find him, but how I ended up with my husband was I had got to the point where I was just tired of dating people. And I was truly happy with being alone. I wasn't looking for anybody. And then he comes along. And I know damn well he found a good thing. Trust me when I tell you, he found a good thing. So
rewind.
Rewind.
Say it again for the people in the back.
He found a damn good thing.
What did you say?
I said what I said. He found a damn good thing.
Right. That's right.
I know this. I know who I am.
Yeah.
I
know
want
who I am.
everybody
So-
to have that same energy, Meeka, because you have had that same energy about your worth.
Oh, absolutely.
Forever.
You got to.
It's not like this
You
is
got
like
to.
a newfound thing. Like, you know who you are,
You
and you try to encourage everybody to be
Mhm.
that way. I don't have that much confidence.
But I do encourage my
do.
friend all day,
She
every day.
does.
You gotta know
She
your worth.
does.
Otherwise,
It's so
people will run
important.
over you, and or they will misconstrue your kindness for weakness.
They will.
And so I don't like that to happen to any of my friends. It damn sure ain't gonna happen to me.
No, it
But
won't. She'll catch you first.
But I don't want it to happen to any of my friends, any of my listeners. I mean, you gotta know your worth. I feel like, and I even teach my daughter, you have set boundaries with people, and if you don't know your worth, like I said, people will run over you, and so you have to command the respect that you know you deserve. But when you respect yourself and you know what your worth is, then you have to command that from other people, and don't take no mess. Don't take no mess. Otherwise, you'll end up in these toxic relationships. You'll end up in these, with somebody who is treating you less than what you deserve to be treated.
Yes,
So-
that's just 100
Mhm.
and 1,000%
Mhm.
right. And that's what I was saying. It goes back to knowing your worth and loving yourself.
Absolutely.
Because when you don't have that self-worth, like you said, you will let your boundaries are not there.
Mhm.
I've noticed that even with family.
Mhm.
I've noticed that with friends as well as
Mhm.
mates.
Absolutely.
And it all comes, to a full circle of, wait a minute, what is it about me? What do I feel about myself that I'm letting this continuously happen?
Mhm.
And so, again, that's the dissecting. That's the dissecting that you have to, you have to acknowledge and then be
Mhm.
willing to dissect it.
Absolutely.
And then be willing to evolve. And I always use the word evolve because sometimes we all have
Mhm.
traumatic experiences in our life. If
Right.
either witnessed it, been a part of it. And when you're coming into a relationship, me and a friend of mine recently were talking about this, you may have subconscious
Mhm.
trauma that may arise. You didn't,
Right.
you thought it was
Mhm.
suppressed,
Right.
right?
Came out
Right.
from
You
nowhere.
thought you was over it. You thought
Yeah.
you was done. Right.
And when it arises, it's like, okay, wait. If you go through acknowledging and then trying to talk that thing out and say, okay, this is okay, what's happening here?
Right. Right.
And then you try to move forward from it. That's the type of person that I want in my life. Someone who is willing to evolve because
Mhm.
we date so many, the potential and,
Mm.
and all,
That's a
Everybody,
whole word right there.
Everybody has potential, but everybody don't live up to that potential.
Come on.
And people some of them aren't even willing to go out of their comfort zone to get to the potential that you see in them. And so, nix that from the beginning.
Yeah. Right.
I'm like you. That's a we tinging on orange, almost red. Let it go.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Let it go.
And some people use that potential in the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
And we know better.
Mhm.
Like, we see it. We're like, you have such an entrepreneurial spirit,
right.
but you using it in a way that's going to get us all in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you can't want it for them.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's it.
I think a lot of women, and I think women, when we get to our age, we start recognizing. I think when in our younger years, you see potential in people, and you're dating for that potential because you see that in them, but you can't want it for them. You know what I'm saying? They have potential, and if they're not willing to exercise it and get out of their comfort zone to get to it, you can't want it for them. You're gonna be sitting there 20 years later, and he had the mindset and he had whatever else he needed, an opportunity to be a CEO of a company. He always said he wants to own his own company. He's skilled in this, he's skilled in that. And then he never takes the initiative to do any of it or to act on any of it. You wanted it for him, and you saw that he had the ability, but he didn't want to exercise the ability. He had the capability, but he didn't want to exercise the ability to get it.
It's all about that execution. You can have a plan, but if you don't execute,
And you need both.
It's
You
so
definitely
funny.
need
I just
both.
seen a meme the other day that says, I don't want to date potential. I want them fully potential.
Oh, absolutely.
And I
love
was
that.
like, yes, because, when you are with someone, you need to add to them. They need to add to you.
Yes.
And because I realized
That part.
that I did not know my worth, I dated, I feel like I gravitated towards men that I had to always help or bring them up in a way where a man that was probably already on my level or higher, I would get intimidated by that. And again, that's something I had to figure out, why that was happening. And so once I did that, I'm like, okay, no, I'm ready.
I know that, right.
I'm ready for that. What can you pour into me and I pour into you, and
right.
then we can do this power couple thing together. Let's do it.
Power couple.
Yeah. So it's very important. It all starts with self and how you view yourself. Yeah.
So I have a question about dating as a mom now. So not just dating and you're single, but how do you deal with now you have a young daughter at home and now having to introduce her to someone? How do you deal with that whole dynamics of that?
Oh my goodness. So yeah. Well, she's 14 now. So there's a lot of open communication. Versus when she was 9 or 10, 8. I didn't really have the guy around her very much because he was just someone new for both of us. But also you go in with this whole plan like, well, they're not going to meet my child for 6 months and, and all that stuff. And, maybe come over when she's asleep or whatever, so you can avoid the interaction or I'll meet you outside or something like that. But, at some point it has to just be open communication. Listen, this is the way mommy's life is going right now. And now that guy that I was seeing, it ended up being for 3 years. So eventually, he developed a relationship with her and it was great. However, when I realized he wasn't the best for me, I also realized he wasn't going to be the best for her. And then even now that she's a teenager, it's so funny because when I told her that I was going to start dating and things of that nature, now, okay, we don't live in like this, a house where I'm in one room and she's in, on one wing of the house. And
we wish.
Yeah. So she can kind of hear my conversations and she's seeing, like I said, she can see when I'm, hey, what got you all, laughing like you're laughing. And I'm like, and then she knows that I'm on the phone with someone, right? So
she's not crazy. She's not.
So I have to tell, hey, well, this is the guy that I'm talking to. So I'll say this. It was so funny because like the next guy that came around, I said, oh, we're just going to be friends. She's like, why are you friending everybody? And I said, well, because I'm noticing something about us that won't work.
Right.
And I'm willing to put them in the friend zone and be okay with that. And that's what you need to do.
Awesome lesson to teach your daughter.
We need a t-shirt.
Right.
That is good.
Right.
You're dropping good nuggets in here today.
I think that's awesome to teach your daughter.
Yes.
That is okay to put somebody in the friend zone that is not right
and
for
do
you.
it quickly.
Real quick.
Yeah, because she has a lot of my personality, her father's personality. We just love people by nature, and so we tend to give people the benefit of the doubt a little bit way past the time that we should have gave it to them. So I'm trying to teach her not just in male-female opposite sex relationships, but even your friends.
That's right.
That you feel are, those are my friends. No, put them in another zone.
Boundaries, right?
If they're not living up to who you want them to be as a friend, and you can see that obviously, no, you have to discern that and put them where they need to be.
Yeah. Don't let people occupy spaces that they are not intended to be in.
That's it.
Period. In your life.
That's it.
Be willing to fire some folk. Or even lay them off for a minute. Maybe they need to be laid off.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a break.
Yep. Keep them as associates. Everybody that's in your circle that is not in your corner. That's what I always tell my kids. Everybody that's in your circle is not in your corner. So some people just have to be, they can't even be friends. They have to be associates. You say hey and bye. That's it.
That's what I've been telling her.
You have to. You have to. So if people aren't good for you, Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Associates. Hey, and
it's
bye.
healthy. You want to produce healthy relationships. And like
Absolutely.
I told her, I want you to be aware of things now, not trying to fix things at 30 and 40. You know,
Come on.
So I want you to be able to see all of what's happening now, because like I tell her, personalities start now. They're cultivated now. You don't just wake up to a different personality when you're 25.
Absolutely.
You may have gotten wiser. You may have started doing things a little different. But you still have that same personality that you had when you were 15.
And you know what? And so does the person that you end up getting with. So, and where I'm going with that is a lot of women get with men or whoever else that they're dating, could be a woman, but they feel like I can love them and change them. I can love them enough to change them, or that I am such a strong person that I will be able to change who they are.
Yes.
And that is so untrue. You can't change a single soul. God can change them, but they have to be willing and want to change for themselves. So you can't change them. You can love them enough, but they will not change just because you are loving on them or because you want them to change. They're not.
You
never
know who will change though? You will.
You
will change. You'll become tired, exhausted, bitter, won't trust anybody. Or you'll continue to attract these people and you'll continue to pour money down the drain because you're investing time and energy in someone who you wanted more than they wanted and they're never going to do it. You know, there are some people who, you got a little potential, you see the potential, but the way you can tell the difference is, do you see that person putting in any effort? And that effort needs to be that one word we talk about all the time on this podcast, consistent.
Consistent effort.
You know, effort, it can't be like an abusive relationship where, I abuse you and then I just lavish you with all these gifts and loves and kind of love bomb you for a second. And then all of a sudden I'm right back to my old abuse patterns again. Like, it's got to be consistent. Y'all, if it's not consistent, you might want to friend zone that person. Because you don't want to live the rest of your life just wanting it more than they want it. They aren't showing you any evidence, the constant doing whatever it is, whether it's constant abuse, whether it's constant disrespect, whether it's, constant cheating, if it's whatever the word is. I don't know. It's so many things that someone could be doing. Maybe it's a constant, I ain't getting no job. And, I think we said, didn't we talk about that one other time? I am not going out every day and working while you sit up on my couch, sucking up all my air and taking my money. And I'm working and you ain't trying? Kick rocks. I can't with that.
Not at all.
That ain't my calling. The Lord didn't call me to that.
Yes. I get it. And
He didn't call y'all to that.
He didn't call any of us to that.
Y'all need to put that dude out. I don't care how good the D is. Put him out.
Oh my goodness! And I hear that. I'm never gonna find anything. Oh, you will.
Exactly.
Honey, you can buy it out the store if you need to.
What?
If that's all it is.
But that's why I try to teach my daughter to observe people, because a person can only hold a different face for so long. So like when you said that they try to change, they may, okay, I'm gonna do better. That ain't gonna last no longer than 2 weeks. That after 2 weeks, it's like it just starts drizzling right back down. You're like, wait a minute, we were doing
y'all give them 14 days. On that 15th day, if it changed, cut them.
14 days, 2 weeks. That
is it. I've even said, when people say when you're dating, you're meeting a representative, and you are, but no one, not unless they're just a professional con artist, they are not going to be able to hold that up past 6 to 8 months. That's it. And usually at the 6 to 8 month part, you're like, are we really doing this? But then that's when you start to really see the real them and everything they come along with.
Yes.
But I think if you're mindful, you'll probably see it way before then. If you are diligent and you are really observing and you know what I'm saying? I think because I think what people tend to do is they overlook things. Well, he's good at this, and this, so I'm gonna overlook that one bad thing. And so they want it so bad. They want that person to be be the right one.
Yes.
They want somebody in their life. They don't want to be lonely. So they tend to overlook certain flags that were presented from the beginning because they see that potential and they're hoping that, hey, this won't rear its ugly head once again. But I think people start showing their true colors way before the 14th day.
That's definitely true. And again, it's all a matter of keeping those eyes open,
absolutely,
and being true to your, really talk. Hey, they always say, okay, you look crazy, you talk to yourself. Well, I'll be crazy. Call me the crazy one. Listen, and I will answer too.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because sometimes you need to say, self, sit down.
Yes.
Self, shut up.
That
Self,
ego.
that ain't it.
Beyonce,
Self, go somewhere else.
Beyonce talking to Sasha Fierce.
I know that, right?
So you got to talk to, you got to say, hey, okay, what would that stronger person do? What would that person that has it all together or has a better mindset than what I'm having right now? Right. What would that me do?
Or Qiana or Meeka, what is your ultimate goal here?
That's it.
You got to keep saying that. What is the ultimate goal? Is this meeting or getting you any closer to that ultimate goal? Yeah. If it's not, detour and go another direction.
Yeah. Yep. You and I had a conversation some time ago about what's the job? Maybe it was you. Job description, right? I think everybody. Maybe this could be homework for the podcast, right? You single and you ready to mingle. Maybe you need to sit down and write a job description for your next person.
And see if they meet those qualifications.
You know what? And look at it like you hiring for $1 million a year job.
Absolutely.
Because
your life is worth that.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
More than millions, billions, and trillions, and whatever words there are. Like
invaluable.
Yes. So. Write the job description, write the summary. Because see, if you
don't pay for headaches, is what we say. Don't pay for headaches.
Come on,
that part.
And then the summary is that little thing there that as soon as you see that dog wagging its tail, that summary. You know how they have the summary at the top of the job description. If he don't meet the summary, don't even go down to the requirements and the the other thing.
Out the other stuff on the list.
Don't even look any further. Just no. No. But go ahead and write your must-haves, those things that are required for the job. And then the other things that are like good to haves. Right. And don't compromise on it. Don't hire somebody for the job that can't do the job.
Absolutely.
And be specific.
Oh, I'm just about to say that.
Yes.
Detail
that list. Detail that list. I know for me, before I met my husband, I definitely wrote down everybody I had dated. And I noticed a pattern with some of them. Like I dated the dog. And I'm like, how many times? I know what a dog look like. It's got its tongue hanging out, the tail wagging, it's panting, it's barking after every female in heat. Like, I know what a dog is. I've seen that before. Why in the world am I continuing to attract the dogs and I'm not really a dog lover?
That part.
Yeah.
I might need to try something else. That ain't it. So finally, I was like, let me just stop with the dog. Okay. Oh, no, your tongue hanging out. Bye. Oh, no, your tongue.
Tail wagging way too quick for me.
You're a little too happy. Just get going over there. Because I'm not picking up your poop.
Right. That part.
We talked about that in the last. I'm not picking up nobody's poop. I don't want to deal with your poop.
You shouldn't have to.
I should not.
They shouldn't even want you to.
Come through. Yes.
They shouldn't even want you to.
They shouldn't be dropping it in the first
That's
place.
it.
That's right. You need to go deal with your crap. Go deal with your own poop. Then come talk to me.
That part.
And that's why I've always said I wanted someone that has done the work. Or, because you have people that have come out of bad relationships and they find themselves being promiscuous out here and, and just not finding they're putting their trauma into random people, because they don't want to do the work on themselves. And so I feel as though I would have wanted someone to have had a little bit of time to just say, you know what, I'm working on myself. Now, even if you're just out here dating, but what you said what you just said was that, write it down and be specific. And
make
honestly, that's what I did. I've done it several times, but I feel like the last time I did it a few months ago, it was just a little different. It was hitting different, like you said. And
was it the last time you weren't willing to compromise that list?
Well, I think it was more so me being a little bit more open. I would say compromise too, but I would say me being more open. And I say that because...
No, I'm saying not compromise what you wanted on that list.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yes. And then also the openness, I meant not gravitating towards superficial things. Let's say, you know how somebody, how we have a type, right? And I tend to gravitate towards a type, and most of us do.
Yeah,
you know? And I said, I don't know if I want my type anymore.
Right.
Because whoever
it won't work.
Whoever it may be may not even be who I would normally date.
Right.
And so I started opening up more with that. No, I want someone who is going to compliment me and me compliment them. We establish a healthy relationship, and that person may not be down to a T of what I normally gravitate towards.
Right.
But guess what? I'm going to be okay with that.
Right.
And I have to be willing to be okay with that. And so that openness for me opened up a floodgate of me looking at someone that may not look like the normal person that I would date. And I'll say this, I have been dating someone recently.
So y'all hear the process work. The process works. Come on.
And so far, he's fitting job description.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see.
He might be on that 6-month trial period.
Exactly.
You know what? And you know, it's at a lot of jobs they'll give you a trial period, and then at the end of that,
the probation
period. Yeah,
that's right.
And you know, they try you out for so many days or whatever, but then they go back and they review you. So some of y'all need to go back and do a little review of your job description and that person and see if they measure up. And maybe everybody needs to do that. And maybe even in marriage, we could probably talk about that. But like, just look at it and see, because people change, they evolve. That was your word. They evolve, and maybe the way your evolution going is not matching with my evolution, and maybe I need to cut you, but maybe you need to stay. Maybe I need to make some adjustments too. So, I mean, that's just amazing. Just go and do your reviews, y'all. Let us know if y'all did some reviews on these people after this podcast.
That's right.
I want to hear about that. I want to see who didn't make the cut. Did Billy make the cut? Did Jaquan make the cut? Did we kick him out yet?
I know, right?
They
or did we say he's a keeper? He's a keeper.
He a keeper. Did he put a ring on it?
That part.
Yeah, it's important.
Y'all, this has been amazing. Qiana is in here dropping nuggets for the people. Yes. We're going to have her back on here because she is dropping some good nuggets for us today.
Absolutely.
Any final words for the listeners?
I would say just stay the course. Don't let loneliness creep in to where you are changing the course
or willing to settle.
Yeah, because it will try to creep in. And when that creeps in, you start to feel a little bit of hopelessness, like, okay, am I meant to be with someone? Or am I gonna be like this for the rest of my life? Or I mean, I just always felt as though I don't care if I meet someone at 65. You don't know that. You don't know what your future holds, but you just have to be willing to put your trust in God in whatever direction he has for your life. And just know that whoever you invite into your life, cultivate healthy relationships. That's the main thing. Whether it be opposite sex, whether it be friendships or family, if you cultivate healthy relationships and want to stick to that course, then you would just be more of a happier person overall. And then that would mean that the next time that you are dating, again, like you said, Meeka, you will not settle. You will not fall for potential. You will not, just throw everything that you know that you have to offer just to anyone. You do it to someone who's worth it.
Absolutely. Because you're worth it.
Y'all, I mean, there's nothing else to be said. I mean, she just summed up the whole episode there.
She
Look,
did.
Qiana, thank you so much for coming and being on Love Speaks Volumes.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm actually excited to come back. I'm
yes, ma'am. Let's do it.
Let's come over here and start talking about this stuff. Because people need to hear it. I know I needed to when I and it's just so important. Yeah. It's so important. Because you feel sometimes so like, am I the only one going through this? Or,
And that's why we started this podcast. We wanted people to know you're not alone. That was one of our main objectives and goals is to tell people you are not alone. We all go through some of the same stuff, albeit at different times, but we definitely all have gone through it, have been through it, or are going through it. And so we wanted people to know you're not alone.
Yeah. And I have one more thing to say too. Absolutely. You also have to be willing to not let people feed you negativity.
Yes.
Because I remember when I first moved here, and I've been here a year. Actually, is today the 29th?
The day is the 29th.
Oh, this is my 1-year anniversary. Oh my gosh. So today is the day that I moved here to Charlotte last year.
Wow.
So 1 year anniversary. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
But it was so funny because I have a friend, she couldn't wait till I got down here. And within 2 days, girl, let me just tell you, ain't no men out here. Oh, the men. And I'm thinking to myself, that's what she waited to tell me. She could have told me that before I came.
Right.
But because I'm not there with that type of mindset, I said, well, I heard that in Maryland. I heard that for DC, Virginia, Chicago, Illinois. So it doesn't, Indiana, so where are you supposed to go?
Right.
And then come to find out, everyone's in Charlotte. It's not even from Charlotte. So
it's a melting pot here. It's definitely a melting pot.
And I said, but no, you take your faith wherever you go. You may meet him up in a plane somewhere, or you just don't know. It just so happened that the person that I'm dating is from Patterson, New Jersey.
Right. See,
just so happened and I'm from Chicago, and we're meeting here, in Charlotte.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So I found some of that Charlotte love.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But again, you don't let negativity creep in. I've been told stay with your daughter's father because there's nothing out here. If you're gonna have another child, have it with him. You don't want to have 2 different fathers for your children. And
but if that ain't a healthy relationship, then you're gonna be in a relationship with 2 children, and it's still gonna be unhealthy for both of them.
2 children, right?
I mean, in that relationship with 2, I'm not saying the relationship with the children.
But no, because we talk about that because sometimes we feel like husbands are like that third kid or that fourth kid.
That's so true.
So when you said that, that's where my mind went.
And I'm like, no. I said my mindset was totally different then than it is now. Right. And this time I might want to do it with someone that is a little bit more healthier, a lot more healthier for me, or in a better dynamic. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, y'all heard it here. Love Speaks Volumes. Qiana out here dropping these nuggets for everybody. It was awesome. Awesome. So you guys make sure that you go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, iHeartRadio. We out here everywhere you listen to podcasts. Love Speaks Volumes is there. We're talking about relationships and communication. We're here. And until next time, let's talk about it.
So, hey, if you can help us help somebody, let us know. Share. We appreciate you guys.
Yes.
We appreciate you joining in, sticking with us.
Yes. And go ahead and cop this podcast on Apple Podcasts. We got Amazon Music, YouTube, Spotify. We got iHeartRadio. We out here. So you guys go ahead and grab it, download it, share it with your friends.
Make sure you follow,
like, subscribe.
Absolutely. All the above.
Yes. And so we want everybody to follow, like, subscribe. Our podcast is out there on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Deezer, iHeartRadio. We are out here wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you don't have a podcast app, on your phone, you probably have YouTube, and we are on YouTube as well. So you can watch.
Yeah, go to our Facebook page. If there is certain topics that you would like us to try to tackle or to speak about, situations, hey, please put it out there. We'll do our best to hopefully, help somebody somewhere at some point in time. So please, people, go out there and like us. Go out there and send us a message. Tell us, what you think.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, as we always say at the end of our podcast, let's talk about it. We'll see y'all next time.